I'm once again to explain you about diversity in living organisms chapter. We have already done first part of it, and today we are going to start with classification of kingdom Plantae. First paragraph tells us about criteria of classification. This is the first point, that is first level of classification amongst plants depends upon whether plant body has well differentiated distinct parts or not, like whether we are able to see root, stem and leaves clearly in the plants or not. Next level, this is the second one. So next level of classification is based on whether differentiated plant body has special tissue for transport of water and other substances. In lesson tissue, we talked about special tissue for transportation was xylem and phloem. So here second point tells us whether xylem and phloem is present or not. Further classification looks at ability to bear seeds. Some plants can bear seeds, some plants do not bear seeds. And fourth one, if seeds are present, then whether these seeds are present in fruits or seeds are naked. So this paragraph gives us idea about the criteria of classification of kingdom Plantae. So now first group in kingdom Plantae is Thallophyta. Thallophyta, phyta is plant, thallo, thallus like, thallus sac like. Plants do not have well differentiated body design fall in this group, means we cannot see root, stem or leaf in these plants. The plants in this group are commonly called alga. Second feature. Third feature, these plants are predominantly aquatic, means these plants are all aquatic. They cannot survive without water because even fertilization in these plants will not take place without water. Examples are Spirogyra, Eulothrix, Cladophora, Alva, and Chara. Spirogyra here mentioned is the other name is pond silk because it forms long fibers, long shiny fibers in the stagnant water. So it is known as pond silk. So special feature here is that it has a ribbon shaped chloroplast. It can make its own food. It means this group has, because these are categories of Plantae, so these all can make their own food. So the chloroplast is ribbon shaped and these are pyrenoid bodies, that is starch storing bodies on it. This you will also see in your laboratory. Now next is Bryophyta. These are amphibians of plant kingdom. Children, this is very important for 1 mark question. Name amphibians of plant kingdom. So these are bryophytes, amphibians of plant kingdom. Amphibians. Amphi is two. Bios means habitats. Amphi means two. Bios means habitat, that these can live on land and water. Now, children, you see, evolution. So life originated from water. First plants are algae, which are predominantly aquatic. From there, the evolution took place and bryophytes arose, which could survive on land as well as water. The plant body is commonly differentiated to form stem and leaf-like structure. Now, children, here you have to pay little attention. It is leaf-like structure. It means tubes, uh, leaves are not present. However, there is no specialized tissues for conduction of water and other substances from one part of the plant body to another. So you can differentiate thallophytes and bryophytes, that in thallophyta there is no differentiation into body parts. Whereas in bryophytes you can see some stem and leaf-like structures. But there is one similarity between thallophytes and bryophytes, that both of these do not have special tissue for conduction of material. And examples are mosses, that is Funaria, Markensia, Rixia. So here you can see leaf-like structures. And this is a capsule which will store spores in it. Now we come to third part of it. After Thallophyta, Bryophyta, now we come to Pteridophyta. P is silent, Pteridophyta. In this group, plant body is differentiated into root, stem and leaves. So one category, it means this is better and complex than Thallophyte and Bryophytes. Thallophytes do not have any differentiation. Bryophytes are differentiated into stem and leaf-like structure, but in pteridophyte, body is differentiated into root, stem, and leaves. Secondly, special feature that these have specialized tissues for conduction of water and other substances from one part of the plant body to another. And these pteridophytes can grow on land. Some examples are Marsilia, ferns, and horsetail. Ferns are generally, grown in homes in those areas where there are shady portions, and these have aesthetic sense. Now, the reproductive organs in plants in all these groups are very inconspicuous. Means these are not visible clearly, inconspicuous. They are therefore called cryptogams, or those with hidden reproductive organs. It means plantae can be differentiated into cryptogams and phanerogams. Cryptogams have hidden reproductive organs, inconspicuous reproductive organs, whereas phanerogams have well differentiated reproductive organs. So cryptogams are further classified into thallophytes, bryophytes, and pteridophytes. So on the other hand, plants with well differentiated reproductive parts that ultimately make seed are called phanerogams. So these cryptogams do not bear seeds, whereas phanerogams bear seeds. Seeds are result of reproduction process. So seeds, how are these seeds formed? As a result of reproduction. So first fertilization will take place, and after zygote formation, ovule will change to seed. They consist of embryo with stored food, which assist for initial growth of the embryo during germination. Children, if you have opened that gram seed, like if you remove the upper seed coat, and in this portion, you can see a very small baby plant. In almonds also you can see. Now, this baby plant will further grow to form new plant. Right? Then what for this structure is this portion? Basically, when seeds arise on mother plant packs a tiffin of food for the baby plant, because baby plants will disperse into various uh, areas which are far away from mother plant. Like when you go to school, you are away from your mother for few hours. Your mother packs food for you in a tiffin box. So tiffin box of seed is cotyledon. So this is cotyledon, this one, and it stores food for baby plant, because baby, when germination will take place, baby plant is very small, it cannot show photosynthesis. So the food which is stored in the cotyledon will solubilize and will provide nutrient to the baby plant for growth. Once this plant becomes self-sustained, it can show photosynthesis. Till that time, the cotyledons would have dried up. So mother plant packs that much food, that's sufficient food for the baby plant, which can last till that time when the plant will start photosynthesis. So children, till now we have done that kingdom Plantae is divided into two categories, cryptogams and phanerogams. Cryptogams are divided into three groups, Thallophyta, Bryophyta, Pteridophyta. And now we shall be discussing about classification of phanerogams. Phanerogams are further classified on the basis of whether seeds are naked or enclosed in fruits. So we have two groups, gymnosperms and angiosperms. Gymnosperms and angiosperm. Here sperm word is for the seed. Gymnosperm, this term is derived from two Greek words. Gymnos means naked and sperma means seed. So plants of this group bear naked seeds, means these are not enclosed in fruit and are usually perennial. These live for many years, evergreen. These do not shed their leaves in one go, so these always appear green and their stem is woody. So if you have to write characteristic, first characteristic will be first line. The term is derived from two Greek words, this one. Second will be that they bear naked seed. Third will be they are perennial, evergreen and woody. Examples are pines and deodas. Pines you can see in plenty when you go to hilly areas. You remember the plants with needle-like leaves. This is cycas. Cycas is grown in pots as well as on land. It has a static value. Cycas is known as living fossil. This is just for extra information because cycas has not changed much since many years. So this is known as living fossil. Now we come to next part, angiosperm. This word is made from two Greek words. Angio means covered and sperma means seed. These are called flowering plants. The seeds develop inside the ovary, which is modified to become fruit. After fertilization, ovule changes to seed and ovary becomes fruit. Plant embryo in the seeds have structures called cotyledons. About cotyledons, I have already explained to you. Cotyledons are called seed leaves. Why are, this is also one of the question which generally children leave, but you have to pay more attention on it. Why cotyledons are called seed leaves? Because in many instances they emerge and become green when seed germinates. So these cotyledons do not only provide food to the growing plant, but also sometimes become green and start assisting the baby plant in photosynthesis and in making food. Now, angiosperms are further separated, further divided into categories. Now, what are these categories based on? This, it is based on number of cotyledons which are present in the seed. Plants with seeds having single cotyledon are called monocotyledonous or monocots, and plants with seeds having two cotyledons are called dicot. Now, you take grams, peas, almonds. When you remove the upper seed coat, the seed very neatly gets divided into two parts. Even peanuts also. These two parts in which seed divides are known as dicot, two cotyledons. Whereas in case of seeds of grasses like wheat, then in case of paddy, right? Paddy or rice grain, you cannot divide it into two parts neatly. I mean, it cannot divide automatically. So these are monocots because they have one cotyledon. These do not have two cotyledon. So angiosperms are divided into two categories, monocots and dicots. Now, this is a flow chart of the classification of plants. Plants which do not have differentiated plant parts are called thallophytes, which have differentiated plant, and another category is which have differentiated plant parts. In this category, some plants may have vascular tissue, some do not have vascular tissue. If plant has differentiated plant part but does not have specialized vascular tissue, that is xylem and phloem, then it will be termed as bryophyte, right? And if it has vascular tissue, then again there can be two categories. They may not produce seed. If these are not producing seeds, then this is Pteridophyta. So we had done categorization of cryptogam into three categories: celophyte, bryophyte, and pteridophyte. And if plant has well differentiated body parts, has vascular tissue, produces seeds, we call it phanerogams. In phanerogams, again, there can be two chances. They may be a seeds, they may not, and they may be a naked seed, or seeds can be enclosed within the fruit. If seeds are naked, plant is known as gymnosperm. If seeds are present in the fruit, then we call it angiosperm. Then in angiosperm, again, there are two possibilities, that the cotyledon may be one or two. If there is one cotyledon, we call it monocotyledonous or monocot. If there are two cotyledons, we call it dicot or dicotyledonous. Now there is one activity. It says that soak seeds of green gram, wheat, maize, pea, and tamarind, that is imli. Once they become tender, try to split the seed. Do all seeds break into two neatly equal halves? No. Which seeds will break? Green gram, peas, tamarind. Which will not break? That is wheat and maize. It means this is first point of difference between monocot and dicot. Monocots have one cotyledon, dicots have two cotyledon. Then the seeds that do are, so we have already covered it. Then take a look at the root, leaves, and flowers of these plants. In case of dicots, there is one main root, and from where different roots arise, different side roots arise. These can be secondary roots, tertiary roots, etc. But there is one main root which is primary root. This is known as tap root. This is called tap root. This is present in case of dicots. In case of monocots, there is no main root, no primary root, rather lot many almost equal sized roots arise from one place, and they are same type. So this condition is called fibrous root. This is fibrous root, right? So it means second difference amongst dicot and monocot is dicots have tap root system, whereas monocots have fibrous root system. Then comes leaves. In case of dicots, there is one main vein in the center from where side veins arise, from where further veins arise. So they give a reticulum-like structure. They form a reticulum-like structure. But so this arrangement of veins is known as reticular venation. Venation is arrangement of, I'll just write it here. Venation is arrangement of veins in the leaf. So if it is forming a network or reticulum, this type of venation is called reticular venation, which is present in dicots. But on the other hand, in case of monocots, say this is monocot leaf, there will be many same type of veins which run almost parallel to each other, are called parallel venation. So monocots, they have parallel venation, whereas dicots have reticular venation. I hope it is clear. First difference, monocots have one cotyledon, dicots have two cotyledon. Then monocots have fibrous root system, dicots have tap root system. Monocots have parallel venation, dicots have reticular venation. Then comes, next is about flower. So dicots have floral parts arranged in 5 or multiple of 5. There can be 4 or 5 floral parts, say 5 petals, 5 sepals, 5 stamens, 5 carpels, like that. But in case of monocots, flowers are trimerous. That is, arrange, these are arranged in 3 or multiple of 3. Say 3 petals or 6 petals, 3 stamens, 3 sepals, like that. So flower in case of monocot is trimerous, whereas flower in case of dicot is pentamerous or tetramerous, right? So these are some of the differences of monocot and dicot, right? So with this, we finish the classification of plants. In the next video, I shall come up with the classification of animals. Till then, happy learning, stay safe. Thank you.